Hey everyone, welcome to another video by Lorhana Gaming.
Yep, today we're going to be going through another Shimmering Skies set review. Today we're going to be doing Sapphire.
And then giving a comment or two for each one, and then we will be doing our top 3 picks.
Alright, kicking us off is going to be Basil Practice Detective. So this is going to be a 1 cost 2/1 that quests for 1 with support. Great art, but support just not that useful. I don't see it's going to change here.
Then we got Chaka, Impressive Daughter. Again, we got another 4 inkable, 4/3, but quest for 2, so slightly better stats than some of what we've seen. But again, nothing special.
Next up, we have Donald Deck, Focused Flatfoot. So, 5 cost inkable, 3/4, the quest for 2. His ability, Baffling Mystery. So when you play this character, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. He does come down on curve. If you do a turn 3 ramp, turn 4 you can ramp him and just keep going up the curve. And he is inkable, so there is a lot going for him on that. It's just hard to see if he'll beat the other 5 cost options of the colors.
Then we're going to have our action song, Ever As Before. Little Beauty and the Beast here dancing around for a 2 inkable. Remove up to 2 damage from any number of chosen characters. It's kind of cute, but only up to 2 damage. I don't really know why you're going to want to play this over so many other cards.
Alright, another Healing Archetype card. Alright, then we have King Candy, Sovereign of Sugar. So, 1 cost 2, 2 for 1. Obviously, not one of those 1 cost shift targets. If it shifts his play, you'll take a look at him. Same story as any other one.
Then we're going to go right over to the Medal of Heroes. This item is a 2 inkable with the kicker that you exert it and pay 2 ink, then banish this item. Chosen character of yours gets +2 lore for this turn. Now, this can be a little bit of a mixed bag. It seems kind of cool on the surface, but also paying 4 for getting the extra 2 is going to be a little bit tricky. It's either going to be really great, or it's not going to see play at all. I mean, time will really tell.
Alright, next up we have Merlin, back from the Bermuda. Looks like he went on a nice, lovely vacation here. So, 4 cost 1, 4 quest for 2. Has the ability Long Live the King, or character named Arthur gain resist 1. Oddly specific ability, really not great. He's obviously here to be a shift target, but I don't think he's going to be your best one to play.
Then we're going to hit a 1 inkable in Minnie Mouse Quick Thinking Inventor. This 1/2 questing for 1, again, pretty decent on there. But Cake Catapult, when you play this character, chosen character gets -2 strength this turn. So a little bit of a flip of what we've seen on some of the other cards. Why are you going to try to give someone -2 in Sapphire? I mean, at a 1 drop
hurts.
Yeah, so I'm not really seeing it make tons of decks.
Alright. Prince John, Opportunistic Briber. So, 3 cost 1, 5 quest for a 1. Whenever you play an item, he gets +2, which is a fun effect, but it's just 1 to 5 that gets slightly bigger. I just don't think you're going to want to waste your 3 drop slot on this.
Yeah, you'd really have to just build around it, which doesn't feel good. Speaking of not feeling too good here, we got Tanana, Wise Woman. This is a 2 inkable at a 1/3, quest for 1, okay. Then the ability, when you play this character, you may remove up to 1 damage from chosen character or location. Again, some really weak healing that just doesn't seem to fit compared to other cards.
And then next up, we have the Queen, Cruelest of All, so 2 costs 0/4, quest for 1 with Ward. Given that she has Ward, she is easily one of the best Queen shift targets, and if you do want to play the Queen deck, you will be playing her, but you're not going to use her anywhere else.
Then let's take a Vision of the Future. This 2 inkable action is going to let you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you put 1 of them in your hand and the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is kind of like a develop your brain on a very big scale, but you're still sending 4 cards that you're basically not going to see again. It does have some, I think, late game potential for when you're really digging for that 1 card that you need.
When you need that key slot and you just don't have it, it's going to get you there.
Yeah, otherwise it just kind of becomes ink.
Alright, next up, Worst Card of Blue. So, 1 cost inkable, All Funneled Out is an action. You can put chosen characters of yours into your inkwell face down and exerted. I have no idea in what world you'd ever want to do this to one of your characters. Just play the 2 cost Grammatala, she does it for you.
And then how about a 2 inkable Hideaway action? Put chosen item or location into its player's inkwell face down and exerted. So yeah, I mean, you could use this on yourself, you could use it on somebody else. It is a chosen item or location, so it really is kind of like a Rise of the Titans in blue, or a Let It Go, much cheaper, but not a song, and can't work on a character. So it's just one other way to deal with items or locations.
Alright, following up we have King Candy Sweet Abomination. So 5 uninkable, 3/3 that quests for 2. Thankfully he does have shift 3, so an early shifter, and he has changed the code, so when you play this character you may draw 2 cards and put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. So he does filter, which is nice, but I think at uninkable, I don't know how much you're going to want to play this over all the other ways blue has. I'd rather just play the 4-cost Grammatala.
Then we're going to have Ludwin von Drake, Self-Proclaimed Genius. This 5 inkable is a 4/4 quest for 3. So that's all he kind of does. Big stats in a way, but again, there's so many 5-drops. Really hard to compete.
Next up we have Merlin's Carpet Bag. So this is a 5-cost uninkable item with the ability Hockety Pockety, so you can tap it and pay 1 to return an item card from your discard to your hand. The item recursion is nice, and there are ways to cheat this into play with the new Prince John, but I just think at uninkable and so high cost it's hard to justify it.
We're going to take a trip to Merlin's Cottage, the Wizard's Home. This is a nice 1-drop inkable, move 1, and 7 willpower. The ability of Knowledge is Power. Each player plays with the top card of their deck face up. Now this is kind of interesting, and I can see ways it can get abused in some decks. I don't see why it's necessarily widely used, but you do get to know your next card and your opponent's, so it could have some fun to it.
We don't talk about Bruno. Oh, fun with that one. Alright, following up we have Patcha, Emperor's Guide. So, this is a 3-cost inkable, 0/4 that quests for 2, and he has 2 abilities. So 1, Helpful Supplies at the start of his turn if you have an item in play, gain 1 lore, and Perfect Directions at the start of your turn if you have a location in play, gain 1 lore. I think this card has some nice potential. If you're playing items, a few locations out, even if you have one or the other, he still gains you a lore every turn and is a good quester. I think there's some slots for him.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in Sapphire, you're already playing items, right?
It's guaranteed you're going to have some items out.
Right, you already got that going on. The 4 willpower is going to help stick around a little bit better than some of the other things. The 0 strength, very weak to removal, but also you might want to play a location or 2 anyway. McDuck Manor is fairly popular in Sapphire, some decks.
Right, and also too, if they go and throw their removal on Patch and you get to follow that up with putting out Flaversham, you know, you're going to feel real good about them throwing their only removal on them.
It's a nice kind of trap almost you could set for your opponent. Do you want to let me gain lore, or are you going to use it on something else that's going to help me gain advantage? Then we're going to run into Sapphire's Chromacon here. This item is a 4 uninkable. It has Powering Up. This item enters play exerted. We've seen this before in Sapphire items. And then you have Sapphire Light. Exert and 2 ink. Banish 1 of your items. Gain 2 lore. I do like some of the instant lore gain in there as well, but sacking your items and it playing exerted is really kind of slow for what I think Sapphire's kind of trying to do. So I think you can definitely find some places in decks, but not every deck.
Alright, next up we have Tipo Growing Sun. So this is a 2-cost inkable 1/2 that quests for 1. And he has the ability Measure Me Again. So when you play this character, you may put a card from your hand into your inkwell face down and exerted. It is nice. Being able to ramp on 2 is a very important turn to get you up to your 4-drops. But the cost of throwing out not 1 but 2 cards in your hands to get there probably makes them a little worse than your other options.
Yeah, Grammatala, 1 jumps, good choices in there. Then we have Basil's Magnifying Glass. This is an item that is a 2 inkable, and you can find what's hidden. Exert, pay 2 ink, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal an item card and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So again, we're almost seeing Scuttle, but as an item, so repeatable. And another fantastic Sapphire late game, I think, when you're trying to find that dime for the win. That's when this shines. Otherwise, early on, again, I think it's just a card you sacrifice or you just ink.
Alright, next up we have Belle of the Ball. So, 4-cost inkable 2/3 that quests for 2. Does have ward, and when you play her, you get to give all your other characters ward until the start of your next turn. Would be a very great aggressive top end. You get to put it down, protect your board. They're not going to deal with it, and usually you just need that extra turn to get there.
Then we're going to move on to Chicha, a 2 uninkable 2/1. This dedicated mother has support. why not? Quest for 1, not super great that you're questing with her and chucking it over, but the ability is probably why you're playing her. On the way, during your turn, when you put a card into your inkwell, if it's the second card you've put in your inkwell this turn, you may draw a card. Definitely kind of great for card draw, but as a 2 uninkable with all the other options you have and that 1 willpower, I'm just not sure it's going to quite cut it.
Alright, then we have Royal Tantrum. So this is a 4-cost uninkable action. Banish any number of your items and draw a card for each item banished this way. Would be a cute effect, but Sapphire has a ridiculous amount of item removal draw already. I don't think there's any world you'll ever play this.
Then we have Scrooge McDuck, Aficionado of Antiquities. This 4 uninkable 5/5 quest for 2. Other than that, nothing really special, just some pretty decent stats.
Then we have Sheriff of Nottingham, so another one of the cost reducers, 9 cost, costs 1 less for every item you have in play. So this is a 5/9 quest for 4 with support. I don't know how useful the support will be, but just in any item deck, I've seen a lot of games where you get 5-6 items out. This guy's going to be a dirt cheap card to play. I think that gives him a lot of high potential.
Definitely. He is so good with items. You're already playing items in Sapphire usually. Tomatoa is great. We've already seen how hard that's been to remove. And the Sheriff here is coming with 4 lore just straight off the bat. And actually, Tomatoa is only a 5/8, right? So even 1 more willpower.
Right, even a bigger dude.
And you can get him out a little bit cheaper. Uninkable, I think, is going to hurt him a little bit. But other than that, I mean, this is going to fit right in.
Right, high potential card.
Then we're going to take a trip to the Great Illuminary. This 3 inkable, move 2, 9 willpower location says, warm welcome. Characters with support get +1 lore and +2 willpower while here. So now I see why they're doing so much support, because they want a location that it feeds into. However,
it needed a 1-cost move.
Yeah, that is
really needed a 1-cost move.
Such an expensive move.
Following that, we have one of the Queen payoffs. So this is the 4-cost, the Queen, Crown of the Council. So this is a 3/2 quest for 2 with Ward, which is very nice. And then when you play this character, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of characters named the Queen and put them into your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. I don't think it's the best card right now, but I think if you do get to that where you're playing like a 40 Queen card deck, this card's going to be a 5 out of 5.
Then we're going to go to Cusco, Selfish Emperor. Kind of just cutting under the line there. This 6 inkable 3/5 quest for 2. He has outplacement. When you play this character, you may put chosen item or location into its player's inkwell face down and exerted. So it kind of reminds me of Hades right there, except for now you can target locations, and it's a little bit cheaper inkable, so that's kind of good. By invite only, I think this is where he really shines. 4 ink. Doesn't say to exert him or anything else, just pay 4 ink. Your other characters gain resist +1 until the start of your next turn. That has some big potential.
Alright, it's been stated before, I love a card with options. He gives you that. Being able to go and have more item removal and location removal for a color that is really lacking a lot of that is going to be very nice. And he comes down at not too bad of a turn for the color. And being able to just have Cogsworth ability to be able to stack it over and over again is just going to make him very hard and make him a nightmare for steel decks.
Right? As a Sapphire player sometimes, how many times do I have like all this ink and I'm like, man, I've got like 8 extra ink. What should I do?
It's like, I have 15 ink and I don't know what to do with it. Better make my board undefeatable.
Exactly. Up the resist. So I think at this point this has some great potential. It's fairly balanced, I think, at a 3/5 and no ward or anything. Still pretty removable, but can get very, very strong real fast.
Alright, next up we have Prince John Goldlover. So, 4 cost 3/4 with quest for 1 with a very fun ability. So, beautiful, lovely taxes. Exert him sideways and you can play an item from your hand or your discard with cost 5 or less for free exerted. I think this is a very nice ability. You can get Merlin's bag out if you want to play with it, be able to recycle your draw items. I think there's some very nice potential with this card.
I mean, you do have to exert them though, so you are going to leave yourself open for challenges. At a 3/4, there's quite a few rush characters that might be able to get up there and banish him, but I think you're going to get your payoff for him.
Yeah, I think the average case is you'll play him, you'll be able to exert him once, and then he's going to be gone. So the question is one use of his ability good enough?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking so, just because it makes your character, or makes your opponent deal with it, and then gets you something good for return. And another challenging 5 inkable drop here, we have the Queen, fairest of all. She comes in at a 2/6 questing for 1, but you can shift her on 3, which is nice, and ward, always lovely to see. However, her ability, Reflections of Vanity. For each other character named the Queen you have in play, this character gets +1 lore. So again, in the Queen decks, definitely can see a lot of good use out of her. Otherwise, kind of why would you want to play this if you don't have a bunch of queens to play her off of?
Right, we'll see as we get more queens in the future how she does. Kicking us off, Sapphire has some bomb legendaries to set. Our first one is Merlin, Intellectual Visionary. So he is a 6-cost and inkable 3/7 that quests for 2, but he can shift for 5, and he has the ability Overdeveloped Brain. When you play this character, if you use shift to play him, you may search your deck for any card and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Just having a tutor on the stick cannot be understated how good that is.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and you're not going to play this card unless you shift, right?
Right, you're going for it.
There's no way. Not worthless.
Right. He does have good shift targets, though, especially in purple. You're already playing 8 copies of him in any purple deck anyways.
Yep, I think definitely has a lot of potential there. And like you said, being able to go find any card you want. We haven't seen this ability yet of any card you want.
Alright, how often in late game do you get to that top deck war where you're like, I just need to get this ball rolling, I just need to find my Flaversham, I just need to find my Be Prepared. Yeah. He will get you there as an extra 4 copies of any card you want. You can toolbox text. Just gonna be a heck of a card to have.
Yeah, I mean the math on it, shift on 5, find that lucky dime, or like I said, maybe a swords to clear the board, or whole new world, whatever you want. Pay for that. Still be able to use it. As a Sapphire player, you're probably going to have the ink for it.
I think the last thing that's worth noting with him, too, is if you need to find a song, he does sing up to 6, and since you're shifting him, you can shift, find that tech you need, and immediately play it.
And sing it. That's a great point indeed. And then up, we're going to have another very talked about card, Mufasa, Ruler of Pride Rock. Now this big lion at an 8 uninkable sounds pretty big. 4/9 for stats, questing for 4. But what are you really using him for? A delicate balance. When you play this character, exert all cards in your inkwell, then return 2 cards at random from your inkwell to hand. Second ability, everything the light touches. Whenever this character quests, ready all cards in your inkwell. Now this kind of sounds a little counterintuitive right away. I play him, I have to exert all my ink, I return 2, so definitely have to order of play him last. But then if Mufasa doesn't get banished, he quests and I ready all my ink. I mean, seems pretty strong.
For sure, and I think the thing that's worth noting with Mufasa too is we have really not yet been able to see this caliber of a late game threat that if you don't deal with it, the game is over, and he has the potential to do that. When he comes down, he functionally draws you 2 cards, and his ability to go and quest for 4, be hard to deal with, ready all your ink. If you have enough ink, you're going to be playing 30 ink worth of cards the next turn. I mean, everything about him screams late game threat. I think he hits all the stars.
Lots of options here.
Yep. Gorgeous Enchanted, gorgeous art. Probably the best card of the set.
That can kick us right into our top 3 picks. I'm going to throw this Mufasa right up there.
What a shock. It's number 1. Who knew, guys? So obviously, we just talked about him. He's number 1. Not much more to go and say about that. Going right into number 2, already talked about him too, Merlin, Intellectual Visionary. Both of Sapphire's legendaries are just kicking it in power level. It's everything that Color wants to be doing, and so they're just going to go for our top 2 there.
Yeah, I think Sapphire won the Legendary Wars in this set so far.
For sure. Not even close.
So there's our 1 and 2, but we're going to disagree a little bit right here. I'm going to go with Belle of the Ball. 1, it's just a fun name. 2, I think it has a good potential to be that small sneaker in there. Given the ward, it'll help the aggro decks that are getting a big boost this set as it is. And then it's just a nice willpower on it and a princess fitting in there. So that's where my 3rd pick's going to go.
And now my 3rd pick is going to be Cusco Selfish Emperor. I love the sass the card gives. He has a great ability. He's inkable. And Sapphire, one of its struggles, especially for its mirror matches, for its late game matches, is being able to deal with those stupid dimes in those locations when you need to. And he is just someone that can come down, deal with it. You both have 15 ink. You really don't care about one more at this point. And I think he's just going to be very useful for those decks.
Alright, thanks for joining us for that video. If you like our content, please like, subscribe, and share it. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so that way you know when our next videos are coming up.
We really appreciate the support and stay tuned for the next video.